Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We're going to talk about Bounty 43, some changes they made in the game yesterday, a healthy list of bug fixes and changes, and a surprise TLC that wasn't in the calendar. And also, we should expect a new calendar on Friday, sort of pushing it right to the edge of helping us plan, but whatever. Let's say hello to everybody. Magic Mike.
Happy Hump Day.
All right. And Pegleg.
Greetings, everybody.
And the Saint got a morning off.
Shh, don't tell anybody I'm at work.
Okay. All right. Let's get moving with the slides.
The right screen. Good. I can do it. Okay. Wow.
All righty.
I missed some exploits.
All right. Submarines can no longer be set as a guard fleet on the world map. This seems to be a fairly controversial bug fix. What does everybody think about it?
Mixed
Didn't use them
feelings.
anyway.
Yeah, I haven't used a guard fleet, and I don't know how exterior guard, and I don't know how long, so it doesn't really impact me.
You're losing the bug fix page there, Mike. There we go.
Yeah, I bumped. I'm sorry, I bumped the wrong.
I don't use one either. You want to hit me, go ahead, hit me. But I know for the active allies that are really trying to protect metals or whatever, driving that sub around for 5 minutes, preventing somebody from hitting, they get a lot of, I'm going to say, joy out of it. I don't know if that's really the right way to put it, but so they're upset. I guess if you're going to be involved in the PvP thing, don't be afraid. Let somebody hit you. Worst case, you lose and you learn from it. I mean, and was it really a bug? That's the other thing. It isn't really a bug. It's a
Well, I think I combined like game improvements with bug fixes, so I don't think they called that one a bug. So
yeah,
I just throw them in the same category. So I called it a bug. It's things they change in the game.
Just a change, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, it is going to impact the active alliances. They're guarding each other and whatnot. But for the people that like to attack, they don't have to spend an extra X number of all the time related to it. So okay, if there's no more on that, we'll go to the next one, which is also not a bug fix, but a change to the game. But I consider it a bug fix. Yeah. So spread is now displayed in the same measurement units as all other range-related attributes, where a land tile is 20 units wide, effectively divided by 5. There's not been an actual change to the spread property of the weapons. It'll behave exactly as they did before. So there's a couple. There used to be a couple of places you could see it. Now there's only one place you can see this. Is when Kixeye on the design side, they deal with a 100 unit or a 10 by 10. We deal with a 4 by 4, whatever. They transform it from a multiplier of 10 down to a multiplier of 4. So it's everything that Kixeye does gets divided by 5 until we see it. I guess it just makes the numbers friendlier on our side and less large, but this has been going on since the beginning of the game. So historically, spread has been multiplied by 5, while splash is, there's a factor of 5 that they removed from the game, which makes things much more straightforward for players trying to understand splash versus spread without realizing that one was divided by 5 and the other one wasn't. The only other places that you can see this is if you try to install a tactical installation in your base, and when you initially look at not the stat blocks, but the icon or whatever, where you select a individual thing that you would put on your warehouse or whatever, you'll see that has been multiplied by 5. And then you click on to look at the stat block, you'll see the numbers that we're used to seeing. So we're going to talk a little bit more about splash and spread. I don't know if in a slide or two, as it relates to the Ravager builds. So we can talk about more, unless anybody has anything on it now.
Nope.
Okay. Traps being built now, showing the bottom right base activity tab. I think they added this in about 3 weeks ago. So I don't know why it's showing up now. Because historically, if you were building a mine or a trap with your saw factory, it wouldn't show up for, this is about the first week that they were around, but then they added them in. But this happened about, 3 weeks plus ago. So I'm not sure why it's showing up now. Maybe because of something that we're going to see in two bug fixes from now. KIXEYE employee bases have more accurate level banding to differentiate between high and low level bases. There's 3 categories of bases, and from what I can tell, they basically reclassified them. Maybe because originally the base was a easy base and it's gotten harder over time relative to the other ones that might have gotten easier. So I think that's what they were trying to do there. Saw factory content menu now says building instead of researching. A lot of people wanted to use research tokens to speed it up or what, but I don't think you can use anything but gold, right? As far as speeding up a mine build.
Right, correct. Sorry, I had mute on.
So it really, I don't know if it matters either way, but okay, here's another one that is good for people that forget things. Redeem chest will now prioritize displayed owned over at capacity while looking at the prize store. If you had a chest, people that forget things, right?
Yes, exactly.
It was one of those quality of life improvements that's been on the list for at least a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes more sense now than it did before. You always had to try and remember, have I claimed it, have I not claimed it?
Exactly.
And then you would force you to open it and spend,
Yep.
that you may not want to, but then you realize, oh, I already owned it. So yeah, this is helpful.
It's nice.
So to finish reading it, if you have a chest held over from a previous FM that you have not opened yet, and you have not yet redeemed the same chest from the current FM, it will show at capacity.
Nice.
However, if you've redeemed the chest from the current FM, it will show as owned, regardless of whether or not you opened it yet or not. So this is going to help people that, did I claim that last night? I don't know. And then, so it should show as owned as opposed to you questioning whether you claimed it or not. So it's a very positive move in my mind.
I think it is, yes. I like that.
Okay, well, let's move on.
Very good.
Okay, I guess it.
You get the wrong one?
Well, there's so many steps in this one, so you can actually just do the slide forward as opposed to clicks because there's a lot of clicks on this one, and I want to come back to this one.
Which one? What number do you want?
This is the next one, 4. And I'm not used to that.
What's
Okay.
going on?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you to the next slide. Okay. There
Okay, now I get it.
And then we'll go back to it because there's a lot of clicks on that slide.
That's fine.
All right. We're going to receive a new calendar on Friday. Right now we're on Bounty, High Ground TLC, Titanic Ascension, and Murderous Intent, which I've been talking a lot about on the show as far as why was it scheduled for originally for next week during Pillage. To extend this calendar, next week's going to be Pillage. Who else knows what's going on? And the following week should be the raid. So that's it with the calendar. But yeah, I was really glad to see this. Well, we'll talk about more about that TLC in a minute. Let's go one slide forward.
It's definitely a player-friendly improvement.
Yes. Because previously with this murderous intent, the way it was originally scheduled and the way it happened last couple of months, it dropped during pillage, which is one thing that you didn't, if you don't do bounty, you didn't have anything to do this week. On top of that, you're rushed to use all these build and upgrade tokens and the release of 10 additional scatterguns were all forced to happen within the week before the raid, which made things much more confusing and whatnot, while at the same time you're trying to build, upgrade, and equip your flagship while you're, so it's I prefer it much more 2 weeks before the raid as opposed to a week before the raid while pillage is ongoing. So
absolutely, I think it gives us a lot more options. Also, in reality, as you say, I think a lot more people do pillage, even if it's only a few targets, than actually do bounty. There's a big split on whether people do bounty or not. So there is some people sitting around with not really much to do this weekend. So I think this is a good, really sensible move, bringing it into this week.
Yep. I agree completely. As you see, there's 8 Ravager build tokens, 5 upgrade tokens, an additional 10 Bloodletter scatterguns are available. You need to use your Photon ECM. I don't even know if a fully built Ravager fleet is going to do that well. Couple reasons. One being the Ravager doesn't do that much upfront damage. It's mostly damage over time. And the other issue is the Ravager has a range of 89, while the Photon ECM has a range of 98. So it forces you to get in the range of the scatterguns. There might be workarounds because the Ravager is pretty fast depending on how you build it. I think mine are going to be right 108. So there is a chance, once we see this next time, that you'll be able to outrun the scatterguns because you're just zooming by at 108 and just miss all the damage. But right now, unless you're completely built out, I wouldn't even really try your Ravagers except for experimentation. Expect to use your Photon ECMs. So,
and you could probably only use 2, right? Because you don't have all the engines yet. I guess you could get them.
We have all the engines.
Yeah, because of today, right?
No, because we got them last pillage.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the special.
Yeah, you're thinking of the yeah. So
The acid one.
Yeah, that's sorry.
Acid fusion shells.
Sorry.
Which adds supercharge and corrosive damage. So, all right. While we're talking about the Ravager and the change in spread display, let's go back to slide 3. There we go. All right. In the text box, in red, I have splash of 15, spread of 18. And right now what we see is this white circle, which is a spread of 18. And we'll get to the turret in a minute. Give us one click, Mike. All right. This is a splash of 15 at the furthest extent of the spread, fired upon there. And you see what in reality would be a circle in the middle. Well, let me explain what splash is. The amount of the distance, in this instance, our scattergun, the point that it aims at, how far it will spread the DOT damage from that point. I'm not going to get into mortars with fall off and all that because that's a much more complicated thing. But if we're trying to just inflict damage over time, this is I put the splash at the furthest point. This is not where they would normally land, but this is the furthest they could potentially be from the target. because of the spread of 18. So you see what in reality would be a circle. If I put, thousands of circles around here, it's not really this shape. But if I continue to, instead of just 4, I put thousands of them around here, this would actually look like a circle in the middle. One more click, Mike. Okay. And the question is, how large is the turret in regards to the ability to take damage from splash/damage over time? This is something I'm trying to work through with Kixeye to try and understand how large this size is. We get a pretty good idea in the game of how large the area that you can aim at, the sort of target area, which seems to be quite large, but I do not know, and haven't got confirmation. Is that in this instance, is that splash going to transfer damage to those, what appears to be a fairly large, aiming point for a turret? Or is this a single point in the middle? And we don't know if it's a single just point, or what I've created here is in Kixeye distance, a 3 radius turret. And as you see, the splash of 15, the spread of 18, at the furthest extent, you're not going to hit the turret.
I was just going to ask that and say, can I ask a stupid question? Because by the looks of it, what you just said is what I was just going to ask. Can you hit the first out and not do any damage to the turret?
Yeah, but that's only if you land right on the extent of that white ring, and then the turret hitbox itself would have to be smaller than sort of 3x3, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, that I don't know the terms to use. You used. We can sort of see what the hitbox is, as you drive up and you edge up to a turret and you get it right at the edge of your range, and you'll fire. Okay, that is the distance that it will fire at, but is that the same distance? Is that the same size that it will take damage from?
Yep.
It almost seems like if you're at your furthest point, you could almost shoot and hit the zone, but not inflict enough or any real damage.
But sorry.
We have more on this. I'm just trying to get this.
I'll stop. I'm just confused.
No, it's okay.
So I think in simple terms on this drawing, you're saying that every single projectile has to land within the white.
Right, that's right.
Yes.
But you're doing damage. You're doing damage in effect anywhere within each of those individual red circles. But those red circles could move depending where the red dot lands, because that red dot could actually land right in the middle.
Yes,
it's not always going to land on the edge. So this is just a demonstration of how
extremes
far it could land. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because your point. One more click, Mike. Okay. What we're seeing here now is splash of 15, spread of 18 in this red and gray circle. So in this instance, this is how far if the scattergun pellet lands within the gray, if the turret is merely a point, which we don't know how large that hitbox / damage DOT transfer is, but if it hits anywhere within the gray zone, it's not going to damage a single point in the center. And this gives you, even though it doesn't look that way, but just due to the pure geometry of the circle, this is because the area on the outside, this is only 70% accuracy. Because of how much larger that ring is around the outside. So this gray is 30% of the circle. So,
yeah.
And so that is concerning if you're like, okay, well, I'm only transferring over 70% of my max damage. Should I use a splash special to make my splash at least the same as my spread? And that is a good question. And I don't have an answer until we get an answer on this little orange dot in the middle as far as how large that is. Is it a single point? And that is what you get with this 70%. And again, I don't know this answer. I've been asking the question, and I'm hoping to timestamp this and see if KIXEYE is willing to provide the answer, because it's not available to players. And the big question is, do you want to put a splash special on your Ravagers? Again, hopefully we'll have this answer by Friday, but I'm not necessarily counting on it. Now, I've listed two row crews on the right-hand side. They both actually provide about the same result. They're both okay. Well, let's. I'm going to show an example with the Hellfire Heathens. One more click, Mike. Okay, this is the Hellfire Heathens with the increase of 14% splash. It's taken that splash from 15 to 17.1, and this brings you up to 91% accuracy that you're going to hit the turret that you're trying to hit. The Molotov Maidens, at the same time it's making the splash larger, it's also making the spray. It's making that orange circle larger, but it's also making the gray circle larger. I think that's 90.4. They're both pretty much the same number of trying to hit the turret that is sitting in the middle. The main advantage of the Molotov Maidens over the Hellfire Heathens is that if there's a turret next to it that's close enough, you might then be, because of the increased gray circle where the scattergun pellets could be lying, you might be inflicting damage on a neighboring turret because of that increase in size.
Yeah, because you're up to 19.5 splash rather than about 17 point something.
Well, the other thing is the spread. You take the spread,
Yeah, you're going above 20 with the spread now as well, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, so that might, impact neighboring turrets. So, because they're both about the same as about hitting the turret if it's a point. If it's actually just a point in the middle and it does not have its own area of its own. So, but again, that increases it, if it is a point, from about 70% to 90, 91. So you're getting about a 20% increase in DOT transfer with these. But again, hopefully on Friday we have a better answer to this. At that point, if they're willing to divulge if that's a point and if it's actually has its own area and volume, what that size is for a turret. My guess is it might vary for the ships based on their size, but I don't know. Maybe everything has the same thing. I do not know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult to say because definitely the hitbox is reasonably large, but as you say, we don't know whether that is the point that takes the damage. So
yeah. So looking at okay.
So I guess which way are you going? Are you putting a splash special on, or are you going to run with crews?
Well, I had already put shaft splitter on all of my ships earlier on before I thought about this too well.
Yeah.
My solution, if I figure out if it's a point, right now my current solution is to put one of these two crews on.
Yep.
And not put a splash special on. If I wanted to get more advanced and if I have extra, if I see some differences and I have some extra tokens to modify it, what I would potentially do is, what I'm doing right now is I plan to concentrate after I see what's on the flag, see if the flag is better for countermeasures, is to concentrate my missile defense system 3s on 1 or 2 ships. On the remainder of the ships, I would strip off the shaft splitter and probably put combustion system 2 or explosive system 4 or whatever the numbers are to increase my splash over spread, to completely saturate it. And then maybe I can use like a sea serpent screw because my splash is larger than my spread. And then therefore I have the ability to conduct 100%, get 100% delivery of that damage over time damage. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Peglag, Mike, you got any more, any questions, thoughts?
I don't disagree with what you did there. I think that's all sensible. I'm leaning myself towards, depending on what's on that flag, running a splash special on some with the shaft splitter on some and doing it that way because I anticipate that I'm going to want the evade crew. But
the only thing I see is jumping into cruise and the 33 minutes and 40 minutes. They'd be doing a lot of rolling, maybe.
Well, and the 2-star Molotov means runs for an hour, but the splash and spread, the stats stay the same, just for people that run across it. And is there any other splash specials that I'm missing?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. So, alrighty. Let's go to slide 6.
Let me ask one more question, though.
Go ahead.
Supposing they come back and they tell you, no, that, if you're in that ring, you're going to get some damage on the turret. Does that change everything?
If it's, that changes it completely.
Yeah. Okay.
If my fear is a point, it's like a single point, not this big circle. Mm-hmm. I mean, a single point in the center, and that's what those numbers were based off of. That 1 click back. Okay, this was without the cruise, where you're going to have 70% transfer of DOT damage, and the other 30% is lost. But if it's, let's say the size is 5 of that thing, I would get 100% transfer. Or if it's 4, I'm going to get 100% transfer. Anything larger than 3, I'm going to get 100% transfer. Right. And then one more click, if it is 1 is the size, I'm going to get 100% transfer with cruise. So,
all right.
And I haven't calculated the area of the circle with, you have to calculate. Basically, you're calculating the area of the circle that is not covered by splash. Right. So you just put the radius, pi r 2 pi, pi r squared, radius, yada yada yada. Calculators out there if you guys don't have a.
And just to confirm on that, the splash of 15 is the radius of 15. It's not the diameter of 15. Is that right?
Well, it was all scaled together, right?
Well, it would scale together. Yeah, it would absolutely scale together. I was just thinking about how far turrets are.
Wait! Did you say diameter or did you say?
No, I said I assumed it's radius.
Oh, radius. Radius. I'm assuming it's not radius. I think it's. Wait! I'm getting back and forth. I'm assuming it's not the circumference. I'm assuming it's radius.
Radius, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's what I assumed. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's from the center point.
Okay. All right. Let's go to
101.
Yeah. Let's go to 6. All right. Bounty 43. Let's move forward. All right. They've re-ranked these things. I don't know. Is anybody decided if they want to hit targets or not associated with this?
I haven't joined yet, so I'm gonna hang off for a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't do bounties, so it's
Wait for a few videos maybe if they come out.
I've mucked around a little bit unsuccessfully with the changes in the 120. I think it was 123 or it used to be 128, whatever it was that it used to be. And I'm so far not liking it. I'm struggling to get by without massive damage. So
yeah, so the 123 you used to be able to do with Basilisk, but obviously with the changes to priority targeting,
yeah, that's out.
you won't be able to do that anymore because the Overlord will just target the Basilisk now.
Yep. And the UAV method with the that I think Derpy probably mentioned on Discord, I gave that a shot and didn't care for how that was going either. It wasn't as bad, obviously, as trying to throw a Basilisk through it. But so I'm mucking around a little bit, but nothing I want to show anyone because it's not anything worth showing, to be honest.
Okay. Even if there's, are there any? Doesn't have to be impressive, but is there anything that you want to show that people should potentially stay away from?
Well, right now, that's definitely one of them to take. I mean, there's many much better hitters in PvP land out there than me. I have no illusions and make no claims to any such skill set of my own. But when if you're damage averse right now, you got to stay in the powder monkey range and check them out and see what you can do. I should see if I've got to pull one up here. Hold on. I've still got my Phantom Gluttony hanging out here somewhere. I could throw that on a fleet and scout, or zip around and show targets maybe, or hair work would work too.
Okay, well, I'll let you, if you find anything interesting. Well, I'm going to start talking about the prizes, but if you find anything interesting, let us know and I'll switch right over to you.
Sure.
That sound good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's one more click.
Forward.
Yep. All right. We have the Abomination. So
that's a hall. Okay.
What?
I thought it was on. That's a hall. It looks like a special we had not too long ago.
Yeah, and I'm wondering who this hall's named after, but whatever. It's an interesting hall. I don't. There's a couple interesting things about it. One, the ballistic deflection is negative 50,000, and I really wish they would add some commas down here. I don't know why on the top stat block you get commas, but in the defense you don't get commas. I don't get that, but
and I see there's no penetrative defense either, so deflection either. So I assume that's just 0.
Yes, it's 0 at that point. That was the other point I was going to bring up. But so it's negative 50,000, 0 penetrative. On the right I have the Exterminator for comparison's sake. But you also notice that it has one more armor slot. So that can cover up some of the ills associated with it. It's really not going to do. Does anybody have I forgot to check the invader plate, ballistic invader plate. What's the value on that one?
200,000.
200,000.
Yeah.
So that brings it to 150.
If you want to flip to me, I'm in that 120 whatever target. I found a clean one here to show. If you want to flip it to my.
Okay, you got to share first.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to verbalize before we do it.
It also only has a combat speed of 17. So that.
Okay.
Okay, you still haven't shared inside of StreamYard.
So StreamYard's being a little weird. Okay, hold on. Why is it doing this? Hold on. Yes, entire screen. Thank you.
There we go.
How's that?
It's
okay. So they've added the Overlord here.
Okay.
They added the Overlord right here. You got Badger, Piranha, and Gatekeepers hiding up here. You can, with UAVs, ping off of this and do some of it, but I wasn't able to actually clear all this. It might have set up for max building damage. In the meanwhile, your Hellswarm does take shots from this and does take some damage on it. And of course, you can prep around the edges in that. But as soon as you're trying to go in here, you've got 2 Badgers, 3 Badgers, whatever it is, waiting to come at you. So yeah, it's not going to be nearly the point factory that you could use it for, even if it wasn't the fastest. It had been my target of choice for the last few bounties. So not an easy one to crack now, or as easy. I'm sure really good hitters are going to figure it out. But
Okay, hit the 120s, kick, remove the Badgers. Use Speed Crew about 8 minutes of damage. So this is live, and you still have Badgers. So maybe this is not.
this is a 123, not a
123.
120.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
123.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll try to go find us a 120 and let you know when I've got it.
Okay. Sounds
You
good.
can-
And I like the wall art, of course.
The wall art.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, down here, yeah.
Yes. Okay. All righty.
All right.
Okay. We'll check back in a minute.
All right.
And the other thing that's interesting about this is it has a self-range modifier of -20. So that means whatever range it has is whatever you extend it to or whatnot is you're going to slap 20% off of that. It's an interesting haul. It's doing some badger pruning with the and it's the and it's also removing the pretty much removing the Armageddon scattergun as far as a favorable option, but it is making the Decimator a more favorable turret to own.
For sure. I've got a 120 queued up if you want me to go to it.
Okay. Yeah, you can stay on share, and then I'll just click back and forth. You're
Okay.
not sharing at this point.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't know that that's what we were able to do. So
Okay, it's all good. Yeah, just click in and out. I have little screens down below that lets me
Sure.
decide.
we got some fancy mountain stuff in here. This guy's going to come out and pursue me right away. Oh, look, we got the mortars.
This is a
The,
120.
Do players have those ice?
This is the 120. This is the new mortar all over the
Oh.
place. That's an interesting one. Oh, coming for me while I'm sitting there dawdling around. Oh, and there's one of the new launcher turrets. So yeah, this is
He's got a
significantly
fair
changed.
amount of stuff aiming backwards.
Yeah, well, he's got that one's going that way. That one's going that. So he's got the pie covered basically.
Yeah.
There's ones going every which direction except for looks like right out here, and then you're going to have that guy coming for you right away.
Why did he go back? Why did he go back?
Because I'm under the water, he can't find me.
Oh, okay. I forgot a year ago.
I'm a harrower, so he doesn't know where I am, and so he returns to his starting point. But I think if you're up here, let's see here, that's got that covered. That's so no matter where you are, there's something coming at you nonstop.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons they said use the speed crew, because you can outrun the mortars. Correct? If you have,
Right.
if you're moving along at a pretty good clip.
Yeah, and you got 2 badgers, and I think there's a gatekeeper right there.
Okay.
I think I saw one surface right by this gate, and no other guard ships. So they took 2 badgers out to give this one a little bit more. Yeah, there he is, right there. To give this one a little bit more reasonable chance, I guess you'd say. Oh, there's the other one. There's the gatekeeper.
Okay. Yeah.
And what's back there? That's not an overlord, is it? With a skin on it? Maybe it is. Yeah, it is. It's an overlord with a skin on it.
Yeah.
See, that's right there. That so nothing slow moving is going to work. There, yeah. Speed crew would definitely help.
Yeah.
Try to get inside the range of the mortars. Which I mean, where this is positioned, you don't get inside them until you're way over by that gate there. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And that third gate, do you even need to take it down? It seems like it's a relatively easy one to take down.
Well, but this is all mountains, I think, here, so you're probably going to have to get to this, depending.
No, the third gate. The second gate, of course.
1, 2. There's the third, but if this is mountains, well, I suppose if you got in there, maybe
okay. So you have White Mountains and you have.
Looks like yeah.
Okay.
Some skinned out mountains in here for some showcase the art department, you know.
Yeah, and I don't think you'll quite reach those back turrets anyway from the.
Yeah, I don't think you would either.
Okay. The other thing that they made a change, and it's with you driving on the outside, is they've gotten rid of the oil platforms at all the corners.
Yeah.
So they've made an attempt to make it a little less grindy and faster targets that you don't have to go out and afterwards. And but in reality, they could have been. No, I don't get it. Okay, why they? I just assume that they were doing what players did. So, but it's interesting that this is not. Most player bases are more aimed at the gate, the front door, so to speak. But this base has such a large interior island and such small moat, so to speak, across the back. It is. I guess that's why they came up with that design. Because it feels like a front door approach because it's aiming everywhere else.
Well, with Basilisk not being able to come in and pound this, if priority targeting was still the way it had been, you could have gotten Basilisk in here and blown away this island pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But with it is now, they've taken that option away unless you're extremely skilled, and even then, I don't know if you could pull it off.
Okay.
So
I don't think you could because the range on that is 300, I think, on the Overlord, isn't it? So
yeah, and then you combine these things all covering every which direction, and there's no good solution there.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's that one.
Okay. Well, I'm going to switch back over to the slides and let me know if you've run across anything else.
Okay.
Okay. Let's. I don't know. I guess we'll start over on the Abomination. The negatives are the evade bonus of -20, ballistic deflection of -50,000, no penetrative deflection. It's much slower, combat speed of 17. And the self-range modifier of -20%.
So I assume that self-range modifier is going to affect the built-in weapon there as well, isn't it?
It's a good question. I do not know.
Better take 26 down to about 21. So.
According to what Templar had said, it affects any and all weapons on the hull.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is why it's stated the way it is instead of having to have range for each damage type listed separately. They did it this way, just saying anything and everything equipped.
So you're going to have to basically park next to the gates to take them down with that.
Well, the thing is, you think about this: doing 10 million damage, and it is unaffected by special bonuses. Okay, I thought I'd seen the thing where
only affected by building damage bonuses.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can get building damage bonus. I think one build I looked at was over 400%. That's going to just go through a gate like almost nothing.
Yeah, and is that what this is meant for?
Yeah.
That's kind of what the flavor text said, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Tank bore through the gates and open the doors up.
Okay. So this is only really applying to higher level bases that have leveled up.
Oh,
games.
silly me. I thought that I came over from looking at a target. I didn't look at this close enough. That 10 million's over on the 6th Terminator. I was not paying attention. Never mind.
It's all good.
Yeah, but it's 750,000.
Yeah.
With reload of every 0.1, so it's firing pretty 0.2. Sorry, so it's firing quickly, and then as you say, you can get 400% building damage. So you're at 3 million per shot every 0.2 of a second.
Yep.
But if the target is just portals, it feels early. Because I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's how many people have actually got upgraded portals? Or
yeah. It just feels a little early in the game to like, okay, what's the point? And I mean, well, they did have that deal that a lot of people bought to upgrade your portals. So I guess it's aimed at that. But as far as the rest of the people, why do you upgrade your portals?
Yeah, the top end has got their stuff in place. They've spent or whatever, and they're ready to go. I just finished my second one, but that was saving tokens to make it, not quite so painful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are people that are going to have it done, and the top end is kind of stagnated on the base setting side. So I got to think that's where they're going with this.
It also feels like the defense against this is back to a tier 9 turret. Back to the decimator.
Well, on the short range, yeah, it's slower than the exterminators and the warhounds. So it'd be nice if long range wise. Let's face it, the far what is it called? Farsight, nice, but only if it's a really slow hull coming against it is it truly going to be as useful. Yes, damage wise, it has potential to hurt this, but how many times are you going to get a shot off to do enough? And then that new missile, the oh crap, what's the name of the
Archimedes?
Archimedes is kind of, I think, gone over like a lead balloon. Too slow of a fire rate and everything else to be terribly effective. So that puts you in using the launchers or the mortar turret, one of the two, as the next twist in the meta as that moves along.
But it might have gone over by like a lead balloon because the exterminator already had 150,000 deflection. This one doesn't have any, so maybe that helps.
Yeah, although when you get the when you put the plate armor on it, it goes up to on the penetrative about 150,000. It's not like that Archimedes turret does have a slow rate of fire.
Okay,
I don't know.
This is also going pretty slow as well.
It's so take a long time to get in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing questions out because I looked at it and okay. Yeah, because I was.
Archimedes does 800,000 every 7 seconds. Yeah, so you would have to get that reload up a little bit, and you can't increase it that much. You could obviously get the damage up a bit. So you're going to take a chunk, but it's a pretty slow reload at the moment. So you would have to put a number of them in.
Right, and do we really want? Does somebody want to give up, say, 5 heavy turrets to put Archimedes in and open their base up to other stuff?
Something else, yeah. I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah. It does have a. We've gone from 200,000 corrosive deflection to 1.2 million. If I read where the commas are supposed to be, this has a middling effect on your saw mines, which I think they do 20 million. Let me double check that.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, they do 20 million of corrosive damage. So it's helping a little bit on that one. So
it's only 20 million out of 160 million. You're only taking a small amount of armor points off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just a modicum of damage change. So
yeah.
Okay.
I think the key with this one is you're just going to have to constantly be firing on it with something because of its lack of speed.
And not have something else. I mean, the evade of -20, and let's see, the radioactive deflection is 500,000. So the launchers, I guess they're not going to have that much. Well, they're going to have less of effect than they have on the exterminator.
But at least they're still useful against both.
Yes, yeah. You know, I've gone exterminators as far as I have 4 or 5 in my base. So, and we've also seen it's gone from 200,000 to 500,000 for concussive deflection, which is going to, the Bayfield, the Badger, a huge amount of base defense is getting, chopped up a little bit. In this.
The Badger won't hardly scratch this thing, if at all. Well, I mean, I'm thinking with an armor plate on it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it feels like the only thing that's keeping this as a tier 10, it almost feels like a step up apart from the speed. Because a lot of people had been going away from decimators as well, hadn't they? They'd gone over to the more to the
Bayfield? As far as short range or another range?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for the short range, the Bayfield.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to have to, like I had a couple of decimators in, but they were further up front to try and do some damage before the first gate.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to have to move those back because otherwise they're just going to get taken out by an exterminator. And this thing will then walk through. So I think it's going to be a bit of a redesign required. Might get some more hitting back because, as Pegleg said, it's been pretty quiet on the hitting front lately.
Oh my God! 2 days ago, I had like from 3 or 4 of the top 10 alliances, was 8 or 9 hit me and like boom, 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 boom. I have no idea. Yeah, so it wasn't slow. I got a lot of medals, but yeah, it was weird. Okay, let's move to the next. All right, here's the scatter gun. I was going to try and compare it to something else. There are numerous specials to increase your multi-shot that are Conqueror Defender available, so you can really boost up this damage. We've already done the splash versus spread conversation. Thoughts on this one? Okay.
It looks pretty strong. I guess you just got to be aware that range, if you're putting it on the new one, is going to be cut down by 20%. So you're going to be at 70 something.
Yes, that's very true.
A lot of guards are not really set up with concerns about corrosive.
Pegleg, you're in a target. Is there something I should show?
I'm mucking around in a 65 here, just seeing what I can do. You can show it, yeah, if you want.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to put you on because I need to go grab a beer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So this has got the same turrets in, but their effectiveness seems to be a lot less, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's Lakuta launchers in here too, which were not there before.
Oh, right, okay.
Which I think that's gonna put me over here on the side of it. I've not done the 65 the last probably 2 bounties. So
yeah, well, previously, and I'm not saying this time, they've had the turrets in there, but they seem to be much less effective. You can almost just charge to the back of the base and take very little damage. But whether, as you say, they've changed the turrets slightly.
Oh, that's right. I can use the. I forget about the Overlord sitting back there. I can go get him with a Harrower. I said I haven't done this in a while, so this target in a while, so I probably won't get it done in one go here from the look of it, but that's all right. Unless there's mines in it too. That's the other piece. Has this thing got a saw factory anywhere? I know in some of the targets they stuck when the saw factory first came out, they stuck in mines into them to the.
Yeah, this hasn't previously, and it would be disappointing if it did, being a 65 target.
Yes, it would be. I think I did this probably 3 or 4 bounties ago, and I think I was using Warhounds with a Harrower to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Those projectiles are so slow.
I know. Whoops, I should have dived there. I didn't realize I was going to be in range of a turret. Oh well. Not worth worrying about. One thing is, there's only the hull. You can get 2 of those, and the weapon, and there's a few tokens or whatever else, but there's really not a whole lot else new, or at least when I looked at it, I don't have already in bounty. So it's nice that there's not a ton of points needed if we've got tough bases to have to figure out and crack from the Kixeye side. I don't hit many actual regular player bases anymore. I kind of gave that whole side of things up.
Just got to work cool. I'll be back. Right back.
Oops, I have to go down here. Yeah, still got it in. Like I said, certainly no model of good base hitting or anything. Just mucking around with it. Woohoo! Up to 5,000. How exciting. So not a lot of these being hit right now. I think folks are probably out there looking to see if people put videos out. There's another 65. There's another 120, 112. I really haven't explored any of those. Let's go up here. I don't have it up that I can see any comments in StreamYard at the moment. Mike or anybody there? Anybody make any comments I should hear?
I don't see. Let me look at the YouTube. Any of us tried the Ravager and I murdered in the? I can't read it. In the new TLC, I understand that it's too slow for it, even a built-out one. From what we heard, I hear Hefe's.
Yeah, Keith. I have not tried it, but it does not look advantageous at this point in time because of the difference between the Photon has a range of 98, the Ravager has a range of 89, and the Photon does much more immediate damage as opposed to damage over time. If you tried it, it has higher defenses and whatnot. and if built properly, has much higher speeds, so it might work.
I think it's going to depend how many you've got. I tried 2 in one of the targets, which clearly wasn't enough. It took several, or it took a few shots and a few seconds to even kill the little drones that fly that zip around. So maybe if you had 4 built, it might be a bit more effective, but certainly 2 was not at all.
Yeah, I'm posting a link in case anybody wants to join the live show or the after show. It's there. What are you up to, Peg Leg?
Oh, I'm trying to 65 from a different angle is all. Now that I've seen it and refreshed my memory of it, it's like, oh yeah, I could do it this way.
Okay.
We did discover they stuck in a couple of the launcher turrets. So it's, you got to change your entry point and just be aware of a couple things. I mentioned that last time I did these was probably 3 bounties ago I did this target. And I think I used warhounds instead of exterminators with it.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I don't profess to any great base hitting skills here. I'm just mucking around as much as anything.
All good. But generally, what you've seen is even that they've reordered, reclassified everything. The complaints I'm seeing on Discord is that it's become much more, less player friendly.
Yes, that's a very accurate way of putting it. It's definitely less player friendly.
Okay.
Oops, I didn't mean to retreat on that. I clicked the thing too quickly. Go back in there and hit it again. Yeah, it definitely is. Now, what I liked what they were doing with Bounty for a while, and granted, some people complain, this is turning this thing into a PvE event. Well, for participation, you have players that aren't serious base hitters. You're not going to get them to join into something where they don't feel they have any chance at all. And when they had a nice variety of targets out there, then you didn't have to rely on one fleet that could only do one target and doing a million times of it over to get your whatever you needed to get. So variety is definitely, the old spice of life comment and everything, and it's certainly true. And now I think you're going to see an awful lot of people hitting the powder monkey level just to get whatever points, which the good thing, as I mentioned while you were gone, there's not a lot new point-wise to get. You got 2 hulls and you got the weapon. Everything else is old and acquirable other ways, or maybe you've already got it like I do.
It's pretty expensive as well, though. The hulls are 30,000 each, aren't they? So it's
right.
If you've got to hit them for 1,000 points each or 1,400 points each, it's a lot of targets.
And I was surprised to hear somebody mention the name of Dexter's Boat on the show.
Dexter's Boat?
Did you ever watch Dexter?
No.
Okay. You were the one that mentioned it.
I was?
Yeah. The whole spice of life, but yeah, it was. I think it was his was actually slice of life, but yeah.
Okay. No, I had no idea. Sorry.
No. It's no. I like the show personally, but okay. KB, how are you doing?
Pretty ordinary. Not very happy with Bounty at all.
I see.
There's not much worth bloody hitting.
Yeah, it'd get mighty boring if I'm going to hit this thing.
The only one that seems to be relatively easy damage-wise is the 70s.
Okay. And so, unless you want to spend a lot of repair on...
At 1,000 points a pop, it's a long grind.
Okay.
Well, I just got 1,200 for that 65.
Okay.
Just about 50 of those, and you'll have the 2. The 2 new ships and the weapon.
Well, that's ridiculous. When the 70s are only paying out 1,000.
And only available for 48 hours over the course.
That's it.
And unable to be located apart from manually searching the map.
Yeah, I thought they said they were going to be available in the locator this month.
Yeah, and given that every man his dog is going to be wanting to hit him.
Well, that's the problem they're going to have, that target scarcity. When everybody is chasing just one or two targets,
Exactly, because there's nothing on the higher level ones that look like they're doable for
reasonable damage.
amount of damage.
Now Jerry Gamer, he posts things, reasonable amount of damage sometimes is 2 coins a target or whatever. Reasonable depends on the player, I'll grant you that, but I don't think most players are looking to drop, 2 coins, 3 coins, 4 coins for
Not
a couple
each
thousand
target.
points. Yeah, no. At least not any player that I hang out with or spend any time with or anything.
So
And for 1,000 points, you'd want nearly instant repair.
Which, if I wasn't screwing around with this the first time I took extra damage on it, I'm sure I'd probably be pretty close on this to instant repair. But
Yeah, but close to instant repair for a 65 is ridiculous. It should be 65, 70 should be definitely instant repair, and the higher ones should be, maybe a couple of coins, not kill your whole bloody fleet to get the points.
So how do we end up in this situation with bounty?
Well, they just keep upping the contents in the bases. They get all the new shit first, so of course that makes it, each succeeding bounty, the bases seem to be slightly harder because they got the new technology and all that sort of crap.
right. And, not everybody is going to be there. There's a level of players that base hit at a, very high level and are very skilled in what they're doing and have, gaming budgets that they don't mind taking some damage, whatever, and stuff, and they'll be fine. Those guys crack everything. It's these next couple layers down of players that aren't as skilled or don't have the budgets, that kind of thing. That's where I think we're going to see a real downturn in the bounty play on this one if this is how things are going to be.
Well, see, it's the people who don't go out really hitting bases
Right.
that rely on the kicks employee bases to get their points.
And that was me.
You know,
That's
the guys
exactly
that have
what I
got
do.
the good fleets and everything like that, they'll make more points out of hitting bases more often than not.
Yeah. I
Where
did
it's-
notice global side very shortly after this thing started, somebody was north of 200, is it 1,000 or million, whatever it is in
Yeah,
this.
but that's probably a blitz,
That's all Blitz coin, yeah.
and that's an expensive way to bloody do it.
Right. I mean, it's nice that some players do it. That's game revenue. We know the game needs revenue to survive, obviously. But, for a lot of folks, that's just not even a practical discussion to have.
No, well, even a 10 blitz is generally about 8 coins, I think, something like that.
It's published in the, are we still on the live show? I don't even know.
Yes.
Okay. It's published in the briefing thing, what the Blitz minimum and so forth. There's Powder Monkeys were X, Quartermasters were a little bit more, Captains were a little bit more. That was in the briefing.
Yeah. I don't publish that because I don't condone it.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
I don't. I try not to. I generally delete the Blitz stuff, and I assume that a lot of the players that are watching the show are not Blitz monkeys.
Right.
So
A lot of folks think the people on TFC are just pro kicks, pro spend your money stuff. Yeah, I've said it forever, and the people who know me, I am truly a budget player, $10 a month kind of a guy. So I don't condone the players doing the blitzing if it's especially the people that play the game that are retired or struggling financially. It's spend wisely. It's your entertainment money. Do what you want. It's your own thing, but spend wisely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go to the strip clubs. That's much wiser investment, right?
Well, we were talking about Magic Mike and his girlfriend Crystal from the strip club, and
How did I get into this?
Strip clubs came back up, and Crystal, whispering in her ear and giving you the vertigo.
Oh, Crystal. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's how.
I remember.
All right.
Crystal.
So
Yeah. So,
Yeah. She was enough to make me dizzy.
all right. At this point, I'm not sure. KB, as far as any of the other content earlier tonight, is there anything that you want to comment on, or should we proceed to the after show?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. All right. Well, the link is still not that far from the bottom. So if you guys would like to join the after show, you're welcome to it. Otherwise, we'll see you on Friday when we're going to have the calendar. And potentially,
woohoo, calendar.
yeah, potentially, what is the turret range, that I brought up earlier, as far as how much splash is going to matter as far as transferring damage over time. I'm really curious on this, and so I will follow that one, because that should impact builds or road crews or whatever that you guys are going to want to know about as far as the next raid. But thank you everybody for showing up, and we'll be back on Friday. Take care, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.